Welcome to User and I, the channel where I explore all things UX and UI design, and today we are exploring our last Gestalt principle, and that is Common Region. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who stuck with me for all 8 principles. This series has actually been really enlightening for me to explore, so I hope you guys have found value in it as well. But let's get into it. This one is all about objects that share the same boundary, are seen as related in some way, shape or form, which is pretty straightforward, and we can immediately think of examples, but as you know, throughout the whole series we've always gone for an example, so we'll do that here as well. Let's take it's actually a diagram from one of our earlier videos. The principle of proximity will tell you that we have 4 groups here, but once we start taking into account common ground, we can see that we have 2 groups. And that's another thing to note about this one, is that it does override other principles. Even though they are still at play, they're just not as powerful. In a nutshell, we can use containers to communicate groups and relationships in our designs, and we've all done this in the past in some way, shape or form. Immediately what comes to mind are drop downs. Another example of this is a table, and I'd say this principle is coming into play in a few ways here. So this is a table, one we've all designed or one we've all seen. They're all related data because they're in a rectangle. What we also see is that the headings here are also in a darker grey, but also using common ground and giving the background a deeper shade. We know that they're more related than the other fields. And again, for greater perspective when it comes to actually reading the elements in the table, what we see here is that every other item has a different shade for the row. Again, communicating relationship on the horizontal plane. This is another good one as well. I used this in a previous example to communicate figure and ground, but we can also see the common ground principle at play here too. We know that those reactions are all similar because they're grouped behind a rectangle, and that in a nutshell is what this principle is all about. Communicating relationship using a group, some sort of visual cue to show the user that these are all related fields. We should treat them as groups, we should treat them as related options. And we've reached the end of our series and we've gone through all 8. I'm going to turn this into a playlist, so those of you who want to watch them again, just want a quick recap, can have a quick binge through. I hope you've learned something as much as I have, and I'll see you on the next video.